made it through. The deadline that had been hanging over you for weeks, the presentation, the exams, the move, the family crisis, whatever yours was, you got to the other side. Whew. You exhaled. You finally slept. And then, almost like clockwork, your throat started to feel scratchy. Your nose filled up. Your body, the one you'd been running on fumes, finally stopped cooperating entirely. You probably thought you were just tired, but something far more specific was happening inside you. So why does stress always seem to hand you a cold the moment you can finally afford to get one? What you just felt wasn't a coincidence, and it wasn't weakness. It was your immune system responding to your stress chemistry in a way that scientists now understand remarkably well. In the next few minutes, you're going to learn exactly what cortisol does to your white blood cells, why chronic stress quietly fans inflammation you can't see or feel, and, most importantly, what small, evidence-backed shifts can actually change that. By the end of this video, you'll understand exactly what your body is doing and what you can actually do about it. Think of your stress system like a fire alarm. When real danger appears, a car pulling out in front of you, a predator in a world your nervous system was originally built for, that alarm is exactly what you need. It triggers a cascade. Adrenaline surges, your heart rate climbs, your muscles flood with blood. Your body stops spending energy on things that don't matter right now. Digestion, reproduction, long-term immune surveillance, and redirects everything toward immediate survival. That's acute stress, and it's genuinely life-saving. But here's where the modern world starts to break the system. Your brain cannot reliably tell the difference between a lion in the grass and a passive-aggressive email from your boss at 11 o'clock at night. Both feel like threats, both pull the alarm, and your body releases the same hormone in response, cortisol. In small bursts, cortisol is actually your friend. It sharpens focus, it mobilizes energy, it even gives your immune system an initial short-term boost. But when the alarm never turns off, when stress becomes your baseline rather than your exception, cortisol stops being a signal and starts being noise. Loud, constant, inflammatory noise. That is chronic stress. And chronic stress, it turns out, is one of the most well-documented ways to undermine your own defenses from the inside. Your immune system is built around an army of white blood cells, natural killer cells, T cells, B cells, each with a specific job. Under chronic cortisol exposure, their activity gets suppressed. Think of cortisol as a fog that rolls into the barracks. The soldiers are still there, but they're moving slower, responding late, missing the signal. That's why, when you're chronically stressed, your body is measurably slower at detecting and fighting off the viruses and bacteria you encounter every single day. Then there's inflammation. Acute inflammation is your body's repair crew. It shows up, does its work, and leaves. But chronic stress tells the crew to never go home. Inflammatory markers called cytokines stay elevated, like a repair team jackhammering a flaw that doesn't need fixing. Over time, that background inflammation is linked to conditions ranging from cardiovascular disease to metabolic disorders and even depression. The damage is quiet, cumulative and invisible until it isn't. And then there's your gut. Roughly 70% of your immune tissue lives in your digestive tract, in a complex ecosystem of bacteria called your microbiome. Chronic stress disrupts this ecosystem. It changes the permeability of your gut lining, sometimes described as becoming more leaky, which allows bacterial fragments to cross into the bloodstream and trigger further immune responses. Your microbiome is, in a very real sense, your immune system's home base. Stress destabilizes that home. Here's the one that might genuinely surprise you. Chronic stress can actually make your vaccines less effective. Research has shown that people under high ongoing stress, caregivers, medical students during exam periods, individuals dealing with long-term loss, mount a weaker antibody response to vaccines, including influenza. Your body still learns, but the lesson doesn't stick as deeply. That's not a rare edge case. That's a measurable, replicable biological response to how you've been living. You've probably felt this without having a name for it. That reliable cold that arrives a week after a big project finally ends. The cold sore that materializes every time a major exam, an important interview, or a family conflict reaches its peak. Because the herpes simplex virus that causes it lives dormant in your body and reactivates specifically when your immune surveillance drops. The wound from a minor kitchen accident that just seems to take forever to close when you're burning out. These aren't coincidences or bad luck. They are your immune system's honest report card during stress. Your body was keeping track, even when you weren't. And rather than treating that as a failure, here's a different way to see it. These signals are your body communicating clearly. Learning to read them and respond is exactly what we're talking about next. Sleep isn't just recovery, it's active immune restoration. During deep sleep, your body produces and releases cytokines, some of the same immune messengers that coordinate your defenses. Even 1 or 2 nights of genuinely poor sleep has been shown to reduce natural killer cell activity by a measurable percentage. Protecting your sleep isn't indulgent. It's the single highest leverage immune intervention available to you at zero cost. Breathwork, specifically extended exhale breathing, inhaling for 4 counts, exhaling for 6 to 8, activates your vagus nerve, shifting your nervous system out of its threat response and back into its rest and repair mode. This isn't a metaphor. Vagal activation measurably lowers cortisol and can shift immune cell ratios within a single session. A few minutes before bed, between meetings, or when you feel the alarm ringing. Movement matters, but the dose is everything. Moderate exercise, a brisk walk, a gentle cycle, 20 to 30 minutes of something that feels good rather than punishing, reliably enhances immune surveillance and reduces inflammatory markers. Extreme exhaustive training, particularly without recovery, does the opposite. Your body needs to move. It doesn't need to be conquered. Social connection is one of the most underrated immune modulators in the research literature. Loneliness has been shown to elevate inflammatory markers at a level comparable to smoking. Genuine moments of warmth, laughter, and felt safety with another person don't just feel good. They actively reshape the chemical environment your immune cells live in. This video is for educational purposes only. Always consult a qualified healthcare provider for personal medical advice. Finally, nutrition. An anti-inflammatory pattern of eating, abundant in omega-3s, polyphenols, fiber, and fermented foods, feeds your microbiome and reduces the chronic background inflammation that stress amplifies. This isn't about perfection or a restrictive protocol. It's about giving your immune system's home environment what it needs to stay stable. Small shifts, measurable results. You don't need to rebuild your entire life. You need to start returning your body to a state it already knows how to be in. Remember that person staring at the screen at midnight, running on fumes? Their immune system wasn't betraying them. It was adapting to the signals it was receiving. And when you understand those signals, when you know what cortisol does, what sleep restores, what connection protects, you stop feeling like a passenger in your own health. You become someone who knows how to respond. Stress isn't going away, but what you do with what you now know, that changes everything. If this gave you something useful, consider sharing it with someone who's running hard right now. Leave a comment below with your biggest stress trigger. I read them all, and the patterns might inspire our next episode. Subscribe if you'd like to keep learning here. Your health is not a destination, it's a practice, and you're already here.